Good afternoon, my Facebook family and friends. It's Myra again from Brown Cherub's Love Zone. I am here with you this afternoon to yet again promote my free Facebook group, which is called Brown Cherub's Love Zone. And it is concentrating on relationships, attraction, and of course, love. I'm trying to still get a few more people in the group. I have had a few people who've shown some interest, but I haven't been able to add them as yet. I'm having a little snag. So I'm trying to get that sorted, but I know who you are and I will be adding you. Hi Zoe, hope you and your family are well. So it's nice. It would be growing soon, so that's lovely. I had also been promoting my event for the end of the month, but I've decided to cancel that now due to lack of interest, which, as I said before, is not a problem because it wasn't for me. It was to create an opportunity for the singles in the group to get to meet each other and just have some fun, put their glad rags on, let their hair down, and so on and so forth. And if that's not something that people are interested in at the moment, then that's cool. So if you were interested in doing that, then unfortunately that one has been cancelled. I'm going to try one more social at the end of next month, and after that, if there is still no take up, then I shall be leaving the socials for the time being. So, what have I got for you this afternoon? This afternoon, I wanted to continue with my top 10. I've done my own personal top 10 so far, and I've shared that, and I got some really nice feedback from a dear friend, so that was very interesting. And I said I would also do my favourite top 10 of Steve Harvey's, who I've been following on YouTube and picking up some of his hints and tips to share with you and posting those videos into the group. I think I've shared a few just generally as well, so you can kind of see the sort of thing that's going on. But I've got for you my top 10 favourites from Steve Harvey, and I haven't, watched everything that he's put out there, and I haven't read his book. What is it? Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. But I've just been listening to his videos on YouTube. And again, I've told you the name of the book, I've told you the name of the author. If you want to do your own research, you can feel free. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. So here are my top 10 tips that I've picked up so far from listening to Steve Harvey. Tip number 1, this is for the ladies: you are the prize. Remember that you are the gift, you are the special prize, and that's how a man should feel if he gets to be in your company and have your time. He should be feeling like he's won the lottery and that he's the lucky one, not the other way around. Tip number 2, if he sees you out and about and he likes you, he's going to come over. Okay, you don't have to do anything. You just have to, that's another tip, so I can't tell you what you have to do. All I'm saying at the moment is tip number 3 from Steve Harvey is if he likes you, he's coming over. If he hasn't come over, it's because he doesn't want to, basically. Tip number 3, let him take the lead. Now, I like this one because we're in a time where women feel that men and women are equal, and, if a man can do it, a woman can do it, and that's absolutely true, and it's fine. However, I'm going to just extend that a little bit. Steve Harvey has said, let the man take the lead. And I'm saying to you, this is again to the ladies, and again to the men, actually. Men, you need to be taking the lead, because some men are a little bit shy, a little bit retiring, a little bit lazy, and men need to be taking the lead. So for the lady, let him take the lead. You can take the lead, but trust me, if you start to take the lead at the beginning, you're going to have to take the lead throughout the relationship from that point onward, because men are creatures of habit, and if that's how you've started things, then that's how things are going to generally continue. If you want a man to take the lead, then you've got to be patient. You've got to wait for him to do things in his time, and then he will understand that it's his role to continue to take the lead. on things moving forward. Now, you can always be clever. Women are clever. We're so clever. You can be clever and you can plant seeds and suggestions to make him think certain things are his idea when actually it's your idea. You can also put time frames on things to help things to move ahead, but always let the man feel that it's his idea. And that's something actually that John Gray also mentions, and I'll be sharing some top tips of John Gray's later on in the week. Tip number 4. So this is what you have to do if you want him to come over, according to Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey says if you want him to come over, you must smile and give lots of non-verbal cues. Now, I have been offering some groups and some sessions at Solihull Wellbeing Clinic to help people to learn these non-verbal cues and to practice them and to have a little bit of fun and to play some games. And again, there hasn't been much interest, and it might be that people don't know what these sessions are about and so don't want to come along. But you know, y'all need to invest. You need to invest in yourself if this is something that you're serious about. So I can teach those in a group environment or one-to-one. Just let me know, because loads and loads of them. And I did talk about smiling earlier on, and a few people have said how useful and interesting that is, because we can easily forget. And you know, for a lot of women, me included, if I don't actively smile, then I do suffer from the resting bitch face, which doesn't look attractive and looks quite serious and actually quite repellent and quite, you know, vex. So I have to actively make an effort to smile. Let me see if I can do it. And that's not me being upset or sad. That's just me resting my face. And, you know, my son will often say, you know, I could be sitting in the living room watching TV and my son will say, "Mum, what's the matter?" And I'll say, "Nothing." Like, "How come you look so sad and so serious?" And I'm like, I don't feel sad or serious. I'm just watching the telly. And so it's taught me that actually, if I'm not actively smiling, that's what it looks like. And all of us need to be conscious of what our resting bitch face looks like and what that means to other people if we are trying to be attractive and attract other people for whatever reason. So that's tip number 4. Number 5 is stick to the 90-day rule. Now, if you're not familiar with Steve Harvey, this is one of the main things that he promotes. He promotes that women should have a 90-day rule, and he refers to a woman's being intimate with a woman as the woman giving up the cookie. He calls it the cookie, which is kind of funny and sweet. But he says women should adopt, when you start dating, women should adopt a 90-day rule, and definitely not give up the cookie for at least 90 days. And a lot of women think, oh, you know, I can't do that. I cannot. You know, I've waited for X amount of time to find a guy. Now I find a guy telling me I've got to wait another 90 days. But it's important, because that is your time to feel each other out. And you can always do that, you know, literally feel each other out. But no cookie. Get to know each other. You know, find out what your standards and your expectations are. And basically use that time in a more productive way, because what Steve also explains is that men are hunters, and once the hunter has the kill, he's not interested anymore and he's off to go and hunt for something else. So that is what you as a woman need to bear in mind. This is why he says act like a lady, think like a man, because you might think that's what he wants and you got to give it him, otherwise he's going to lose interest. In fact, Steve tells us that actually no, it builds the man's interest, and if he leaves you before the 90 days, that's because it wasn't going to work out anyway. Okay, because if he likes you enough, he's going to wait, and actually he's going to value you more and respect you more for that. So that is a really, really important one. Tip number 6 from Steve Harvey. It says, and I'm not sure if this is the right way round, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. It says, let him see what he can get, but let him imagine what he can have. Something like that, because I couldn't find the video again where he said it. So let me say that again. It's something like, let him see what he can get, but let him imagine what he can have. And I like this one because this is what I'm telling people all the time. Do not present too much too early. Yeah, it's okay to have a little bit of cleavage. It's okay to show a little bit of leg. It's okay to have a tight fitting skirt to show a little bit of batty. That's absolutely fine. But don't show too much, because after you've done show too much, you've left nothing to the imagination, ladies. Nothing at all left to the imagination. And he may well visit, have a bit of fun, but he ain't taking you home to meet his mum. He ain't making you his wife. You get me? Because he's gone through that already. So you need to bear in mind what the man is thinking and how they are interpreting what you're doing. And he did a really interesting video where he showed some men, some very provocative images of women that the women themselves had posted on social media. And the women were in the studio, and the women were saying, you know, well, you know, if you've got it, flaunt it, and I can show this and that and everything, and there's nothing wrong with it. And it was, I think one woman had her friend with her, one woman had her sister with her, and the friend and the sister were both telling these women, it's too much, you're showing too much, giving too much away too soon. So Steve did an experiment where he showed different men these images and how they felt about them, and all of the men were like, yeah, she's beautiful, she's gorgeous, she's fit, she's got it all going on, but I'm only going to have a little bit of fun with that. I'm only going to like mess about with that. I might take her home, I might have a night with her, but I ain't taking that home to meet my mum. You see what I'm saying? I ain't making that my wife, because everybody don't see everything already, and she's putting herself out there, and that's not what a man wants for his wife. So, you know, the women were quite shocked when Steve went back to studio and spoke to the women. They were like, well, you know, what do you think? And they were both like, wow, you know, we need to rein it in a little bit, because we didn't realise that was what men were thinking. And Steve saying, well, there you go. Both of these women, by the way, were single. So they took that on board and moved forward. So I just wanted to share that with some of the single ladies who might be out there watching, and also the married ladies, you know, married ladies who, or if you're in a partnership, you know, be aware of what, you know, your man or your husband is seeing out there, because these women, some of them are very thirsty, and you know what I mean, your job is not done because you've got the ring. Your job is not over. You need to keep things spicy and hot. And I've said this to women in a relationship before: keep your relationship spicy and hot, because there's some very thirsty women out there, and you know, the woman might not necessarily be a home wrecker or intend to be a home wrecker, but she needs to get herself sorted as well, and she needs to get her things as well. So she's going to be looking. Okay, so just a little message to the single and married women. There's a beautiful woman on my Facebook page, and I'm not going to name her because she's not in the group, she's not on the live. I wish she was. And when I see pictures of her, the woman looks stunning. Yeah, she looks stunning. Every picture that she posts of herself, she looks stunning, and she's married to a relative of mine, and he just must be the luckiest man on the planet, because she always looks stunning. She always looks so sexy, and she's intelligent. She's got a very professional job. They've got children, and she doesn't miss a beat, because she knows that there are some very thirsty women out there. And she even posted once, and I know she won't mind me saying this because she posted it on Facebook already, and she said that she was out with her husband. She went to the toilet, and by the time she's gone to the toilet and come back, there's some other woman walking up on her husband. She was having none of it. Okay, so what I'm saying to y'all is keep it spicy, keep it hot, because these women are watching and just waiting for their little opportunity to slip in on your husband. Yeah, I've told you the statistics before many a time. So, you know, when you've got yours, all I'm saying is your job is not over. Keep working, and if you need help and advice and some tips and stuff, let me know, because we can talk and we can look at how to keep things spicy and hot. Okay, a wink from one married woman to another. Okay, tip number 7. Steve says, hi Diane. Steve says, don't split the bill, especially on the first date. Don't split the bill. Don't offer to split the bill. Don't even consider splitting the bill. Okay, and Steve was the video on that was so funny, because Steve was like, if a man can't take you out and buy you a food, you want to consider marrying that or settling down with that and having a family with him? He was like, oh, hell no, women, have your standards high. And that is the next one, number 8. Keep your standards high. Steve saying, oh, thank you, Diane. You're all right. Thank you for the encouragement. Steve saying, no, if a man cannot... And what he also said was he knows, every man, as dibby as he is, knows that if he's taking a woman out, he's supposed to pay. Okay, and where he takes you, he doesn't say this, I'm going to add this part, but where he takes you is a reflection of you to understand what the man's pocket's like, generally. Yeah, you can have a man who gets a little windfall and so he upgrades a bit, but but generally where the man takes you gives you an idea of what his pocket is like. So, and how generous he is, because man can have deep pockets and not be generous at all. So bear those little things in mind. Be observant when you're dating. Be observant of little things like that. Where's he taking you? Is he happy to pay? Because if he's not happy to pay, you need to get yourself up and come out. Yeah, because like Steve said, if the man cannot be, if he's not willing to pay for your food, yeah, on the first date, you need to lock that off immediately, because there's no future there. Because that's not just showing you how deep his pockets are, that's showing you how much he values you, and what his attitude is like to women generally and to dating. So don't even go there. And you might earn your little money. Yeah, you might have a good job and you might think, I can pay for it and I'm independent and I can do that and that's fine. But that's you. You can reciprocate in another way. Yeah. But on that first date, you've got to let him step up. And Steve said on that first date, the man should be putting his best foot forward. He should be pulling out all the stops, and he should be, really, whatever he shows you on that date is his best, because it's only going to go downhill. It's only going to go downhill from there. So listen to these tips and take heed, take notes. And as I say, in the Brown Cherub Love Zone, I'm doing all the research for you. I've watched maybe a couple of hours now worth of Steve Harvey videos over the last month or so since I've started the group. So I'm condensing all those hours of my watching them to give you these top 10 tips. But you can watch them yourself. As I say, I find them on YouTube. I don't keep secrets from people. And they're funny. Trust me, they're only like 3 to 5 minutes each, but they are so funny. You'll learn so much. But this is all American based as well, so bear that in mind. Things are a little bit different here in the UK. So he said, as I say, number 8, keep your standards high. Now, y'all need to know straight up before you even go out there to look what it is you're looking for. And he does a nice little piece on the law of attraction. I've studied the law of attraction as well, and it's so important for you as a woman and a man when you're going out looking to know what you're looking for. Now, it's twofold, really. You need to know what you want, but you need to leave a little bit of room for the universe, because sometimes the universe has a really nice way of upgrading you and giving you a little bit more. Okay, so hi Paul, nice to have a man there in the group. You can comment, anybody can comment and throw your little comments in if you agree, if you disagree. Throw your comments in, that's interesting. But leave a little bit of room for the universe to surprise you, because the universe likes to surprise you. Because my husband, he ticks a lot of boxes off of my initial list, but he ticks loads more. Hi Simon, you're right. He ticks boxes I never even had on there, and it's only when I met him and realised he could do certain things, like he can cook a fish. He will scale the fish, gut the fish, make up his little seasoning, stuff the fish, wrap it in the foil, put it in the oven. Does it like his mum. We used to date from back a day, like I've told people before, and his mum used to cook like that, and he can do it. Now, I would have never in a million years, if I had a list that was 1,000 items long, I would never have put, I want to be with a man who can cook a Barbadian steamed fish. Never, would have never crossed my mind. But when he presented me with that, I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. I was like, you know what, I am marrying this man. And it wasn't even on my list. So if you can have your list, be specific, know what you want, but allow a little space. And a man's not going to present that on the first date. A man ain't going to sit down with you for a drink and tell you know what, I can steam a fish, Bajan style. It's not going to come out in the first date. So that's what I was saying before. Give people little time. get to know somebody, yeah, give them a chance, and take your little time. And that's why the 90-day rule is so powerful, because it gives you a chance to get to know the person and feel each other out. So that one I really, really like. But keep your standards high. And I did do a video myself, and as I say, I have put my videos into the group so they're all together, because otherwise you're going to have to trawl all the way back through my page, but they're there as well. And I did talk about keeping your standards high, and that was about knowing your moral code and your personal morals, ethics, standards. I'm talking about things like religion, things like how manage finance, things like how you would raise children, things like dietary requirements. Because if you're a vegan, it's hard for you to date somebody who's a meat eater. That's, it can happen, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, because right there, your values aren't the same. So that's what I was talking about, keep your standards high, because there's some things that are your core moral code. It's a part of who you are. Yes, Diane, with the Jan, you can't find that everywhere, you can't find that everywhere, but they're there. So they're your core values. They're the things that make you who you are. That's how you've been brought up. Those are the things you believe. Things like your religion. I don't know if I said religion, but they're your core. And you can have some compromise for the right person, but that person has to value them, even if they don't fully believe the same things that you believe. They still value it, and they value that you believe it. So it's not a conflict situation. It don't cause no animosity. I know people who go out with somebody from a different religion, and she was telling me that he's a Muslim, and he gets up and he goes to mosque when he's got to go. And then he was saying to her, if you're a Christian, how comes you ain't getting up every Sunday going to church? How comes you're still lying in the bed? What's all that about? That don't look good. And she was like, okay. Yeah. So things like this, he was valuing her religion, but he didn't feel like she was valuing it. So then it wasn't an argument, but it was a cause for a discussion. It had to be mentioned. So when I'm saying about keeping your standards high, I'm not talking about judging people's past. Oh, yes, that's right. I'm not talking about, sitting on some high horse and saying the man don't earn enough, or the man don't have this, or you don't have that. That's not what I'm talking about keeping high standards. I'm talking about understanding your values and your core beliefs and your, your inner, what makes you, and sticking to that. There is room for a little bit of compromise and a little bit of flexibility, but when it starts to make you feel ill at ease or make you feel less than, then that's not going to work, okay? So just bear that in mind. The next one, number 9. This is Steve Harvey's, by the way. I did my 10 tips already, so if you want to scroll back, you can see some of my own personal 10 tips. These are Steve Harvey's 10 tips. So this one, number 9, get the ring. Right? And I put on my Facebook the other day, Beyonce's Single Ladies, right? Because I just wanted to remind the ladies then about the ring, because some people forget about that, and you get into a relationship and you could all be 2 and 3 and 4 years down the line. Yeah, I was 7 years down the line. I know somebody on here who was longer than that down the line, and waiting for the ring, never got round to it. You get into a family, you get into finance, you get into this, that and the other, and you don't get the ring. But the thing is with the ring, only get the ring if it's what you want, because some people, I always try not to generalise, and I always try not to make sweeping statements, because I know everybody's different. I know some people have had disturbing relationship experience from family, from parents, from whoever, and have said they're never getting married, and that's fine. I can understand that if that's where you're coming from. The thing about the ring is, if you want the ring, then get the ring, hold out for the ring. And you might think, well, how long do I invest in the ring, or how long do I wait for the ring? You need to have these conversations during your 90-day period. You need to be saying, not just sitting him down and grilling him with shining a bright light in his eye. I think Chandler said that on Friends. But you need to just have that conversation casually and say, eventually I'd like to get married, have children, blah, 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 or whatever. How do you feel about that? And most men will be honest. There are con men out there, there are liars out there. Yes, of course there are. But most men will be honest and say, you know what, that's not what I'm looking for. Or yeah, you know, I am looking to do that. If you want the ring, ladies, you gotta make that clear that you want it, and you know, he will, if he likes you, if he loves you, if he's got feelings for you, he will do that. He will. And it's so important, because especially if you've got children involved, it's so hard to explain, but it solidifies your families, it solidifies your love, it's a representation of your commitment to each other. And I'm going to do a live on marriage, actually, because I've got some interesting information to share with you all from when I was going to get married and the second time round, and the difference between my first marriage and my second marriage in terms of the marriage itself and what marriage is. So I'm going to come back to that. Somebody better remind me. But yeah, if you want the ring, make sure that you get the ring if that's what you want. And what's also important, ladies, is in a different video that Steve Harvey did, he was talking to a woman. I did mention this in one of my other videos, so I'll just be brief. He was talking to a woman, and he was this woman was saying that she liked a guy but didn't know whether he was in a relationship. So Steve Harvey just simply said to her, is he wearing a ring? And she said no. And he said to her, if he isn't wearing a ring, he is fair game. He is fair game. That's what he said to her. So I was like, what the what? He's telling her to go and chirp some man, whether she knows he's single or not. But he was saying it don't matter. If he's married, he should be presenting himself as such and be wearing a ring, right? If he isn't presenting himself as married and not wearing a ring, then he's fair game. So ladies, let me tell you this. If you are married and your husband is not wearing a ring, I suggest you send him to get one, because my husband had one. He lost it. And I said, you know what, you need to go and get yourself another one. And I've talked about this in a video before, because like I told people before, the odds are stacked in the man's favour. 1 million more women in the UK than there are men. So there isn't someone for everyone. And like I said before, there are some thirsty women out there. And I'm not saying that as a criticism. I'm just saying that in terms of statistics. Okay. And the way these women are determining who is fair game and who isn't is by that social signal of the wedding ring. The wedding ring is it's like a banner to say to everybody else out in society that you are married, that you are committed to somebody. So even if you don't want to go through that that whole marriage commitment thing, if you're with somebody, y'all need to be wearing a ring so everybody else knows where they stand and how to proceed. So, and I'll come back to that another time, because there's a lot there with the marriage thing. Okay. And for those people who are kind of like, I ain't going to get married, I don't want to, you might want to just ask yourself, or speak to somebody else and say, I'm a life coach, I'm happy to have the conversation. You might want to ask yourself, why not? Because usually, if people are dead set against marriage, it's usually because they've had a very negative experience of it. And that isn't necessarily how your future relationship will be. And if that is, you're still kind of in that place mentally, you need to kind of work that through. Because you might be losing out moving forward with, you know, the person that is right for you, or, you know, missing out on opportunities moving forward. So that's just a little something of mine for you to bear in mind. And the last one, yeah, I like this one. So this is tip number 10 from my top 10 Steve Harvey tips. And this one is a man, yes, if a man comes over to you, ladies, he is coming over because he already has decided that he wants you. What he's coming over to find out is what it's going to cost him to have you. I like that one. Yeah, if he's coming over, he has already decided that he wants you. What he's coming over to find out is what it's going to cost him. And he knows it's going to cost him something. Yeah, which should cost him something if you got any standards or decorum about you. But that's what he's coming to find out. And that's the point at which the woman needs to know and understand her value, her level of respect, her level of self-esteem, her level of just your value, your core value, your own value. You know, a man's coming and he will pay whatever price you set. If he likes you, if he loves you, he will pay whatever price you set. If you set a price at a wedding, He will marry you. If you set your price at a drink, that's what you're going to get. And trust me, he will run through you and he'll be off to the next person, because he will have paid his price, he will have had you, and as far as he's concerned, it's a done deal and it's over. And you know, this is, and I wrote them all down, just jotted them down. My top 10 Steve Harvey tips on dating, relationships and love. And this is what I'm saying to people, this is what my love zone's all about. It's about me sharing my personal experiences. It's about me doing my little research, doing my little reading, doing my little watching the video clips and sharing things, asking people questions, just so that, not so that I can have the answer, because the answer ain't nothing to do with me. This is where I get my life coaching involved. I ask questions in the group to make people think. People have to think about their answer and decide where they stand, so that we're getting rid of certain grey areas. You don't have to give your answer to me, you don't have to put your answer in the group. It's nice if you do, because then I can see that you've given it some thought, and that, you know, you have given it some consideration, and we can have a discussion. But the answers aren't for me, the answers are for y'all to think about and consider. So that's it for this afternoon. I hope you've enjoyed it. As I say, I've done quite a few of these videos now. I don't know how many, but I've done quite a few and I'm quite enjoying them. It's always nice to get some feedback. So if you've liked it, give me a little thumbs up or a little heart. If you haven't liked it, feel free to put your angry face or your sad face or whatever, because any feedback for me is positive, because it just helps me shape the videos moving forward. If you've got a comment to make, leave a comment. If you've really enjoyed it and you think somebody else would benefit, then please do feel free to share, and let's just get this message out there. Let's help singles to reconnect. Let's help people learn to communicate with each other better. And just what I'm trying to do is just build just a community that's a little bit more tolerant, caring and loving towards each other, without all this hostility, because you know, it can get quite ugly and unnecessary, and a lot of it is due to communication skills. And thank you, Diane. I'm good at communication in terms of the skills of it, and the psychology of it, because it's something I'm looking at all the time. So, you know, not everybody is, and that's not a criticism, that's just saying, you know, I want people to tap into what I'm good at, if it's going to be useful and if it's going to help you. So, as I say, that's all from me for this afternoon. Thank you for the encouragement, Diane. I love when people just put a little heart and a little thumbs up. It's just encouraging, because sometimes I feel like, what's the point? Why should I bother? You know, I'm here talking to y'all when I should be maybe serving up dinner for my family, and they're having to wait. So it is a cost to me, but I don't mind, because as I say, this is what my giving back to my community and doing what I can to help people. So have a lovely, lovely rest of your day, and love and light, and namaste. Bye.